Does your avatar define you? Throughout the course of the 21st century, as big tech and media have risen, relationships have shifted from primarily in-person and voice-to-voice to on social media and over text. Studies show that 11% of adults prefer to stay home on weekends and go on Facebook than actually explore outside their homes and acquire real-life experiences. Uncertainty lies in whether or not online relationships determine socially healthy behavior in real life, begging the question, does your avatar define you? Our team researched this shift into the intro of online platforms. Paul Booth, PhD, who is an assistant professor of communication at DePaul University in Chicago, says that rather than face-to-face interaction, we're tending to prefer mediated communication. In short, people would rather spend time with online friends than develop real-life experiences. Yuo Wang from the University of Southern California School of Communication describes that even when family members are together, we tend to read our phones instead of talking to each other. Let's take a look into a restaurant situation. If we go into a restaurant today, we might see hordes of families all sitting down and looking at their phones with very little interaction in between each other. But if we look at the phone, we might see elaborate interactions that we never thought could be possible in person. Now, what's going on the phone may or may not be authentic, but this is intimidating. It's intimidating to be authentic and vulnerable in person when going online is just so much easier. But this vulnerability is completely necessary to forming intimate connections. These complete impressions of people develop socially healthy behavior, pushing past awkwardness and becoming more poised. Now, let's go into another situation, maybe when you met someone for the first time in person. It was probably awkward, it was probably boring, but if you escape this situation by looking at your phone, or maybe met this person completely over social media, there would be no awkwardness. But if you were in the first circumstance where you look at your phone instead of actually interacting, you would be considered as rude or misunderstanding. Now, this intentionality of being in person is the foundation for friendship, knowing gestures, voice, body language, and whether or not you might want to spend time with this person later. Again, it might be boring or awkward, and it doesn't give as much of a dopamine boost as going on social media does. But learning this grace, manners, poise, people skills, this will develop healthier and more meaningful interactions in the future. Social media simply inhibits socially healthy behavior from developing in the first place for these face-to-face conversations. When we build friendships in the face-to-face setting, we are losing a sense of anonymity and are being exposed in a way that online connections cannot survive, says psychologist Suzanne Dykes-White. How can you live your life to the full if you condense your world to what is behind a screen? If we condense people to what is behind a screen? If we condense our world as a whole to what is behind a screen? Now, some strategies and solutions to overcome this problem first begins with self-discipline and self-control, setting time limits on social media, making sure that our connections are authentic. Now, Eric Klinenberg of New York University says that the quality of social interaction can reduce the loneliness of a person instead of the quantity of the social interaction. Going back to our time limits, going back to our authenticity, that quality over quantity every single time is going to form more intimate connections. Next, value those in-person relationships and conversations. And don't let who you are online be the only thing that defines you in person. And it goes the other way. Don't let who people are online and your online friendships determine if those friendships are real or authentic. Pay attention to the people around you. Listen genuinely. Avoid picking up the phone because you could be missing out on what is right in front of you.